You've probably heard that time is money, right? But is it really? Let's find out. Hi, I'm Dr. Jeff with debtfreedr.com. One of the first people ever to coin the phrase time is money was good old Benjamin Franklin. He basically stated that for each hour you don't work, it'll cost you money. Unless, of course, you have assets bringing in good old passive income. So for me as a periodontist, each hour I'm not treating patients, guess what? It costs me money. Speaking of time and money, what is the time value of money? The time value of money is actually a concept that enables you to understand what money is worth in terms of, you guessed it, time. So this is expressed in a formula which basically states that money is worth more now than it will be in the future. So this is mainly due to inflation, which increases prices over time and decreases your dollar spending power. So many of the financial decisions we make now and in the future involve the importance of the time value of money. Let me give you a couple examples. Should you take out a 15-year or a 30-year mortgage? Should you buy a car on credit or pay cash for it today? Should you invest in stocks for the short term, or maybe mutual funds or bonds for the long term? So if you're like me and you have kids, you know that they're the ones that actually grasp this concept, time value of money, much better than we do as adults. If you don't believe me, try asking a kid if they'd rather have 100 bucks now, or you'll pay them 10% interest and give them $110 later. How many of your kids do you think would wait? I know mine wouldn't. So I think that many savvy investors are really starting to grasp this same concept and are changing the way that they invest. So instead of socking the money away that'll be locked up like in a 401k or some sort of retirement account for 30 to 40 years, something that we've been taught forever by financial advisors, they're now starting to invest more for cash flow that can replace their expenses. So basically, they're moving from the accumulation model over to the cash flow model. Why? Because they, like myself, we want options now. And knowing that buying stuff is only going to become more expensive each year. So people would rather have money now rather than later. Why is the time value of money important? So remember that inflation increases prices over time. So every dollar that you put in your pocket today, it's going to buy more in the present than it will in the future. This makes investing even more important than you realize. So the time value of money helps in that it allows you to make the best decision you can about how to handle your money based on three things. The first being inflation. Inflation basically causes the cost of goods and services to go up. So again, money that you have today has a higher purchasing power. The second way is risk. So due to unforeseen circumstances, whenever you invest, you may not get all of your money back or any at all. But you can lower your risk to zero if you're paid today. The third reason why it's so important is the investment opportunity. So there are several ways that you can make your money grow today. But if you wait to receive your money 10 years later, then you're losing that opportunity to invest. Now, what about the time value of money when it comes to real estate investing? So real estate investors can actually use this same concept to help determine what their future cash flow from a real estate investment would be worth in today's dollars. It can also help to basically determine whether you're better off using your cash now for something such as like a rehab or borrowing money and conserving cash for maybe another purpose. So even though we now know that the time value of money teaches us that money is worth more today than in the future, so we should spend it now versus save it for later. We also know that sometimes that just isn't the case. So while inflation actually works against you, eating away all the value of your money, compound interest, on the other hand, It's actually going to work for you to raise the value of your present dollar tomorrow. So, what exactly is compound interest? So, compound interest is nothing more than earning interest on your interest. So, in other words, it works by calculating the interest on your entire account balance, which also includes the interest that's been accrued. So, for example, let's say you have $1,000, okay, it's sitting in an account and it gets a great return. It actually gets 10% a year. So, in that first year, you've actually earned $100 in interest. Okay. So in year two, things start to kind of pick up because you're actually earning interest on the interest that you've already had from the previous compounding period. So if you take that, it would be $1,100 in year two. 10% interest on that actually is $1,210. So the end of year two, you now have $1,210. And if you keep going and play this out until the year five, you'll actually have $1,610. So now that we've learned what the importance of the time value of money is, how do we go about measuring it? We actually do so by a formula which you can easily find online. Just simply go to Google and search for a time value of money calculator. So using a formula like that is it's really essential, especially if you want to answer some questions such as how much would I need to save if I started today if I want to become a millionaire in 20 years, assuming a 6% growth after inflation. You could plug that into a calculator and find out. You could also use this formula to calculate anticipated future costs, like if you have kids for college, if you're going to want to purchase a home for either yourself or them, you have big trips you're planning for, weddings, etc. Another question you may be asking yourself that you could use this formula for would be if I were to start with an account balance today of zero and I put away, let's say, $500 a month, what will I have in 10 years if I get 7% growth after inflation? So this is really a great way to see actually the direction that you're headed in. So using this calculation actually with kids is a great way to help them to motivate them to focus on saving money more at an earlier age. I do this all the time with my kids and they're teenagers. So again, you can easily find a number of these types of financial calculators online to use for free. So now that you've come to realize the importance of the time value of money and that it tells us that money that we have now doesn't have the same value as it does in the future. So by knowing this, we're able to make and set better goals and make better choices that actually are going to affect our financial life. If you want to learn more about the time value of money or how investments can play a game with your financial future, go to debtfreedr.com. I'm Dr. Jeff. Take care.